We're starting the new parak, famous parak that we say every Friday night. Right, this is a parak we quote. Whoa, lights there. We quote between Mincha and Maariv. The Mamad Likin. What do we light with? We're speaking here about the wicks right now. What kind of wicks are appropriate? And then we're going to speak about what type of oil, what type of fuel is appropriate for Shabbos candles. Now, the thing over here, guys, is basically to understand that we're trying to get a pure light. What's the problem if I don't have a pure light? If I have a pure light, maybe I'll come to fix it. Maybe I'll come to, if the light doesn't burn purely, I have an instinct to go over and fix the light. And if I fix a candle on Shabbos, that's an issa d'oraisa. I'm not allowed to stoke a fire in any way to improve the fire. So the rabbi said, don't use these types of wicks because they're not going to give you a pure enough fire. And maybe you'll come to, that's the gezerah, that's the prohibition the rabbis added. Maybe you'll come to stoke the fire. So let's see. It's funny. This Mishnah only tells you what you can't light with. It doesn't tell you what you can light with, but it starts off what can you light with, what you can't. So we're learning only from elimination. These are only the things that you can't light with. The first thing you notice is lechesh. Lechesh is, they call it cedar blast, I think, which is inside a cedar tree. There's some sort of a soft material inside the bark, which you could roll and make into a wick. You can't use that. What's chaysan? It's actually flax itself, but it's uncombed. Uncombed flax. Again, it doesn't burn. It doesn't burn so clear. Kalach. What's kalach? A certain type of silk. Don't make the wicks from, say, a low quality silk. Maybe the high quality silk works better. Not a low quality silk. You can't use willow blast either. Willow, I guess, on the inside of the bark, you find another type of soft material that you could roll together and use for wicks. Midbar are the long grasses that grow in the desert. Moss that grows, we're going to learn in the Gemara, moss that grows on the side of boats. You can't use that for a wick. Now we're switching gears. Now we're getting to the fuels. We switched these are all the wicks you can't use now. The Mishnah doesn't say it, but this is what we're doing. And as a fuel, don't use zephys, pitch. It seems like pitch comes from a tree. Anybody want to enlighten me? Is that sap? It means sap?
Yes.
Sap.
That's what, yeah.
Below Shalva, you can't use wax. Again, you can use wax. We're going to see the more. You can use wax for a candle, but you can't use it for the we'll see right away. You can't use it for a wick. Below Shemin Keek. Shemin Keek can't be a fuel, right? More is going to explain what Shemin Keek is. Below Shemin Sreifa, anything that has a din. For example, you had oil and it was truma and it became tameh. You can't use something that's tameh. That's interesting. That's a different reason really altogether. Just I can't get a benefit from it. Below balyo, you can't use the fat of the tail of a sheep or an aisle, a ram. Below the certain fats, right, that are non-kosher. If you cook the fat, right, if you make it into a liquid form, it's okay. Whether it's cooked or uncooked, you can't use fat as the fuel for your candles on Shabbos. So we're going to go back in the list. Lechesh, we said, right, was cedar blast. The Gemara says the bark of the cedar tree. Right? Who would have a thought that I could use bark as a wick? It's wood. But no, it's the soft material that you find on the inside of the bark. That's when we're talking about that you can't use. Lo b'chayisen, so we can't use chayisen, which is uncombed flax. There are bunches of flax. It doesn't say vaksiva hoisen lenaharos. Hoisen it turns to naros. So you can't tell me that hoisen are naros. Hoisen can become naros. They're not the same thing. Ella omorabaya ksina dedaik velo patzi. It is a bunch of flax. The difference is it's been pounded without being combed. I guess that's the process. First they pound it together, to get the shells off, and then they comb it. But until it's, even though the shells are off, until it's combed, it won't have a nice flow from the wick to the actual fuel. So below kalach, right? We said kalach was a low quality silk. What's the problem with that? So I asked all of the sailors. Kaluka shmei. Kalach is really called kaluka. That's the name of this low quality material. We talk about ziri oma gushkura. Also, they're arguing what the actual name of this low quality silk is. The Rabbi Rabin, Babai and Abaya have Nehemiah, who was the Achd Reish Galusa. He was the brother of the Exilarch. As the brother of the Exilarch, I guess he was entitled to certain quality of life. They saw him, he was in a certain type of a silken garment. Rabin said to Abaya, that garment, it's kind of funny, right? This is a low quality silk that they talk about that you can't use for wicks. No. So Marina said back to him, no. We use, right, a finer silk, right? The one in the Mishnah is a lower quality silk. Meisfe, it says about 3 types of silk: chakshinim, baklach, vasrikin, chai b'tzitzis. All these 3 types of silk will be chai b'tzitzis. What do you see that klach and sarikin are different types, right? They're different types here. So tiyufta, we see that we don't really have the right type of silk. We didn't figure out which one it is. Maybe you could say that shira is one type. The shira panda is another type.
What does it mean? What does it mean that they require ritual fringes? What do they mean? No, but they mean that type of material.
There's a havamina. There's a thought that maybe the only thing that requires tzitzis are wool or linen garments.
Right.
So these are also silk garments. Also require tzitzis if you use them as a garment.
Okay.
You see that people have all I don't know if you ever noticed that a rabbi who wears a long coat, so one of the back corners of the coat is, even though it's not wool, but they turn the bottom of the coat, one of the corners, and they round it, because you're only required to wear tzitzis on a garment that has 4 corners.
Mm.
So, but every 4-cornered garment is chayv and tzitzis, not just wool and linen. That's right. What was idan? I guess in Aramaic, it's a willow tree. They were walking in a certain place called Pachtasa, and they saw a willow tree. This willow tree is the Idan tree that we talk about not using the wicks from. And then he said, what? I'm not going to use a stick for a wick? I can't. How can I use a piece of wood for a wick? Kalav, he took the stick, he took a branch, and he peeled it. He saw that in between the bark and the wood, there's a type of soft material there that you could roll together and turn into a wick. We said grass from the desert. The word gives it another word, shavra. Shavra is another name for the grass of the desert. What about the moss on the? We said it's on a boat. If you want to tell me it's the moss that grows in the ditches by the road, it's too brittle. You can't make it into a wick. Stuff that grows on the side of a boat, right? And that one is the problem. Let's go. Gemara's going to ask, Tana Asifu Aleim, why doesn't our Mishnah have a couple other things that might not make good wicks? Semer, shel semer. What about wool? Shel sar or hair? Tana Nidan, because the rabbi of our Mishnah said semer mekutz the kais. I guess when you light wool, it shrivels up, right? It shrivels up, and it can't make a good wick at all. So we don't have a thought to put it in. And sar, if you light hair, it burns instantly, right? It just burns up right away. It's possible to consider it in the list of things. It didn't make the list because no one would think of using wool or hair as a wick. It's a little bit of zephyr. We said we can't use pitch. Zephyr, what's zephyr? It's FIFA pitch. It's what's shava kikusa. Shava is wax. Tana adkan silas. Up to here, we were talking about the problem of wicks. From here onward, we're talking about the type of fuel. Shita, obviously, these things seems to be fuel. No, the Gemara says we have this in-between case. Shava is we need a case for wax. You might have thought about wax. It's not fitting for candles either. No, you can use wax for a candle. You just can't use it for a wick. Omorami ba'avin atrana. The silas zifos said like this: if you have wicks made of zifosa of zapis, shabbat zevusha. So if you take pitch and you boil it, you end up with something called a trana, right? That's a pure substance. I'm not sure. Gemara doesn't really say what you can use it or you can't use it. But Shabbat, how do you get wax? It comes from squeezing the honeycomb. You squeeze the honeycomb and you get wax. So what's the difference? Why are we interested in this? Over the page, for business. So if I say I'm selling you wax and I show up with a crushed beehive, a crushed honeycomb, right? It's a good deal because a crushed honeycomb is known as fine wax. If you can't use them to make your candle, the Shabbos candle, but you could use them for your fire on Shabbos. I'm going to see whether bein lechamamam connected, whether you want it for heat, bein l'shtavish, or maybe whether you want it for just regular light in the room, but not for the Shabbos candles. Bein agabei karka, whether it's on the ground, bein agabei kir, whether you keep it on the oven or on the ground. It's only us to make the wicks for your Shabbos candle, but to use it for fuel, right? That's fine. Linear bilvad. It's only us for the candles. We said, what's Shem and Kik? We're going to speak it out. My Shem and Kik. Again, the sailors were familiar with all the different types of things, products on the market, because they had to go pick them up and deliver them. There's a certain bird in the cities around the ocean. I think this is the seagull, right? The Kik Shmoy. Which birds hang around the ocean in the city? Seagulls. It's called a Kik. If Yitzchak Oma, I guess you could get some oil from the bird. Reish Lakish Oma Kikukin Diyoina. Sorry, I skipped one, I think. Take grape seeds and you squish them, you get kik oil. Rishlaki says no, kikoyan. Remember that Yonah, by his story, he sat under a kikoyan tree, right? By the story after he was by Nineveh, he sat in the shade of a kikoyan tree. I saw this kikoyan tree, Rabbi Barchana says. It looked to me like a barren tree. In other words, no fruit grew from it. And it grows in ponds. In stores, put it in front of I guess they put a little bit of water and they grow one of these trees. in front of the stores to make it, I guess, beautification. I think Rashi says that it smells nice. And from the tree they make oil. And all of the sick of Eretz Yisrael sit in its shade to heal. Very interesting. What about the wicks? And we say we can't use on Shabbos because it flickers. Once the light starts flickering, I don't want to use those wicks because maybe I'll come and fix it. And similarly, I don't want to use those fuels because they don't pull up the wick nicely. They don't draw well. If they don't draw well, it comes out that I'm not going to be able to be pleased with the light, and maybe I'll come and fix it. What about a mixture? What about mixing these things? Could I mix good oil and bad oil, a good wick and a bad wick? Let's see. All these oils, he said, you can't use on Shabbos. Can I put in a little bit of that non-kosher, non-appropriate oil with the proper oil, with, let's say, olive oil, and I'll have a little bit of a mixture. I'll save some of my olive oil, and I'll use some of this up, and it'll be a pretty decent fire. Did they say, look, if you come to allow him to put a little bit in, you know what he might do? Maybe you'll put it all in. Maybe you only use appropriate oil or not. What did the Mishnah say? Ein mad likin, nisht azoy. No, you can't use it at all. My time, ein mad likin, because we don't want you to light with it. You come to light with it, even a mixture, maybe you light with it by itself. Ase, but karach, if you twist one of the things that we said, let's say the cedar blast, you twist it together with linen, which linen makes the best wicks. Can you put it together, even though one of the things is inappropriate, but you have an appropriate wick, but you're just conserving your appropriate wicks a little bit. You mix it together with inappropriate. Again, the Mishnah says, no mixing. So Beis Abba, she says, in the house of the Exilarch, again, of the Prince of Israel. We used to wrap our wicks around a nut. Now a nut is clearly not a material that you're allowed to use for a wick. But madlikin, we lit our Shabbos candles. Tanimiyas, madlikin. You see, they're allowed to light. Asking from Shim Gamliel. Why don't you ask from our Mishnah? Halo Kasha, which says you're not allowed to. Look, if you have an actual story where it actually happened by a great rabbi, that's better than having a Mishnah. We still have a problem. It says in our Mishnah you can't light. And what do we see with Shimon Gamliel's father that he did light? So he said we're not lighting. It's not about lighting. He used to wrap it around the nut, so the nut would float in the oil, not to burn the nut, just to have a floating surface. I guess this was before. What do we use? Those floating wicks.
Floating wicks.
Yeah. What do we use on the bottom of them?
A little cotton, a little.
It's a piece of name. You use them for clipboards on the wall. What is it? A spot? Not sponge.
Sorry.
What's it called?
Look.
I thought you were talking about
cork.
Oh,
Cork. A cork is a natural substance, also, no?
Yeah, from the bark of a cork tree.
Cork tree. Well, they didn't use cork. They used the nut to float the wick. So we see by his house, he wrapped the let's say the linen around a nut and lit it. Ha'eni, are you really allowed to do it? If you take fat and dissolve it, or the innards of fish that dissolve, you could put a little bit of oil, and he could use up these two also oily substances for his candles on Shabbos. Because over here, what's the difference? They flow well. those things flow well. Bahani, right, but these things don't flow well. In any event, but in any event, they didn't let you use this fats that were melted or fish that was dissolved, fish innards that were dissolved, lest you come to use the one that's not dissolved. Right? They made a gezerah on both of them, right, on the fish and on the fats, not to use them, lest you come to use the actual one that's not dissolved. The more wants. So then make a gezerah. When I can't use I can't make the mixture either. Make a special enactment on the mixture as well. Morris says no. Once I make a gezerah on the oil, right, that's enough to capture the whole prohibition. That is a gezerah. I can't use oil unless I come and use it on its own. And so the mixture, I was to go to the mixture. We don't make a gezerah on top of another gezerah. That's a principle in Shas. Once I have one gezerah, that's enough to stop people from making the mistake of using liquefied fat or liquefied fish innards. All these things we said we can't use on Shabbos. You can't use them in the base of Mikdash either, right? For the menorah, we're thinking now about the menorah. It says it has to. The pasuk says the candle has to burn continually. What does that mean? We learned about that. The candle has to go up on its own without any assistance. So if you use inferior wicks or inferior oil, right, it won't come up on its own. You'll have to maintain it. Right, without anybody's ongoing assistance. We learn and what the Kohen's used clothes, the worn out clothes. Madilin, Samcha, man, Malikin, Simchas Beis HaShueva. What would they do with them? They would use them and make the torches for the Simchas Beis HaShueva. With more answers, Simchas Beis HaShueva is shiny. It's different by Simchas Beis HaShueva, right? Simchas Beis HaShueva, the party they made on Sukkos, that already is not. It's not the menorah. The fact that they used I guess the point is that the Kohanim's clothes were wool and linen. So if they use wool and linen together for a wick, it wouldn't be appropriate for the menorah, but it was appropriate for torches. Toshma, tiny masna, big day they used to tear the Kohanim's clothes. They used to make the actual wicks for the menorah. My love, the kalayim, wasn't it wool and linen together? And so it's more Lloyd. It wasn't wool and linen together, the boots. It was just the linen. The linen from the old clothes of the Kohanim they used for wicks for the menorah. These wicks and oil that you can't use for Shabbos, can't use them for Chanukah either. We're going to have a whole Chanukah story here, guys. Whether you're lighting the Chanukah candles before Shabbos, or whether you're lighting them during the weekday. My time, what's the reason you can't use them? Because he holds the following. If it goes out, you're going to fix it. I think you're going to fix it. So we have to only use the better oil, the better wicks, right? Because you don't want to fix it. And with the Shabbos, since you're allowed to use the light, maybe on Shabbos, if you have this inferior type of wicker candle, you're going to come in and you're going to fix it. And you have to make sure the candle burns for a certain amount of time. So you'll come and maybe do it a Zera on Shabbos. Rav Chizda, second opinion, you can light it the weekday because the weekday, there's no such thing as doing a voida. Right? There's no isser to fix a candle on the weekday. Av b'Shabbos, Shabbos there is. If it goes out, you're not going to fix. So the Mutla Shabbos, since you're allowed to use the light, so on Shabbos we do make a gezerah We do make a prohibition against using inferior oils and inferior wicks because maybe you'll come to fix it. We're not sure who said it, but it's a third opinion. Right? The third opinion here. Things you can't use on Shabbos, you can use on Hanukkah. This is the most lenient opinion. Any type of wick and any type of oil is good on Hanukkah. My time to Rab. What's the reasoning of Rab here? If it goes out, I have no obligation to relight it. Right? Better. You're supposed to let it burn for half an hour, but if you didn't, you don't relight it. But I can't use the light anyway. So I can't use the light. I'm not going to get benefit from it on Shabbos. I'm not going to come to fix it. I only come to fix it if I can use it on Shabbos. But since I can't use the light on Shabbos, I can use inferior oil, inferior wicks because I won't come to use the light on Shabbos. I sit in front of a He said this halacha over. Right, in the name of Yirmiyah, that you're allowed to use any type of oil, any type of wicks in the Hanukkah menorah. But later, when Rabban came and said this halach in front of Abaya a second time, but he said it in the name of Reb Yochanan, he accepted it. If I would have reviewed my learning, Abaya said, maybe I would have merited to accept this earlier. But he did accept it. So if he accepted it this year or last year? What's the difference? He accepted the halacha. Now, for the Yankasa, because when you're young, and you learn something when you're young, it sticks with you, it becomes part of your life. Right? We all have the experiences of our youth, are the things that form us. So he said, I would have known this earlier, it would have made me a different person. We said if the Hanukkah candle goes out, we don't have to fix it. Is that really true? We'll ask from the following brisa. It's a mitzvah to light your Hanukkah candles when the sun starts setting until everybody leaves the marketplace. My love gives that means you have to have it lit from the time it's dark until people leave the marketplace. Or it says, Lord, if you forgot to light now because you have from the time till it gets dark until people leave the marketplace. Inami, or maybe another reason is to tell you should probably put enough oil in so that it stays lit from the time that the sun goes down until people leave the marketplace. So as it says until people leave the marketplace. Ad kam, I mean, how late is that? Today in Yerushalayim it goes all night, right? Until the last people working in the marketplace are the guys selling the wood for your fireplace. They used to, I guess, be available so people could make sure they had enough wood for their fires in their home to burn through the night. Not sure what time it was. Tana Rabban, mitzvah Chanukah, the mitzvah of Hanukkah is to light one candle in every house for each night. So in other words, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 8 times. Mahadran, if you want to do it on a higher level, then each person in the house lights one candle. Mahadran in the Mahadran, what's the highest level? That's to light 8 candles every day. You start with 8 candles on the first day, says Beis Shammai, and you go 8, 7, 6, 5, so on and so forth. You start with 1 on the first day, then you go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so forth. 2 rabbis in Eretz Yisrael argued. Yosef bar Avin was one of them. Yosef bar Zvida was the other one. Echad Omar time the Beis Shammai Kineged Yomim Anichnas. And they said the reason that the Beis Shammai holds you light 8, 7, 6, 5, 4 is you say, look, today we're honored that this was an 8-day holiday, at the glory of having an 8-day miracle. So we start with 8, and the miracle became less and less as you go. The time that Beis Hillel Kineged Yom HaYotzim, Beis Hillel holds that we go against the days coming in, so to speak, and therefore we do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Bechad Omar time. The other rabbi said we know that the animals that were brought as offerings were the first day was 13, the second day was 12, right? The cows. So we start with the most, like the offerings, candles, and we reduce. Time to be Hillel, the Malamakush in Malik. And in holy things, we always move up. Right? We're going up in holiness, we never go down. So we don't start with 8 and go down because there would be a reduction in holiness. We build up to the holiness of the 8th day. There were 2 elders, I guess, on either side of this. One did like Beishan, Echad also Beis Hillel. One did according to Beis Hillel. This one said the reason was because of the offerings on Hanukkah, which were descending in order. And this one, because he did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He said because in holy things we always go up. You put the Hanukkah candles on the outside of your house in front. If you live upstairs on the 2nd floor, put it in the window close to the public domain. If it's a dangerous time when the non-Jews don't appreciate you having candles, put it in your house on the table of Doi. That you'll fulfill the mitzvah. You have to bring in a second candle. You have to have the lights on in the room so that you're not using the Hanukkah light for your benefit. If you have a nice torch, right? You don't have to have a candle as well. A torch is enough. If you're a man of distinction, because they don't use torches to read by; they use candles. So you have to have another candle for the man of importance, in order it should be a symbol that he is not using the light of the menorah. My Hanukkah, we're going to give a little introduction. What's Hanukkah? What was Hanukkah? Tamni Inun, it's 8 days. Excuse me. My Hanukkah, Tanu Rabbanan, Chofa Bekislev. It starts on the 25th of Kislev. Yom Hanukkah, Tamni. The days are 8. 8 days from the 25th of Kislev. The Inun, the Loma Sidin Bahan. On these days, we don't give a hesped, right? No eulogies. We don't fast on Hanukkah. What happened? The Greeks came into the Heichel, into the base of Migdash, and they profaned all of the oil in the base of Migdash. When they were conquered by the Chashmonaim, and they defeated them in war. Badku, the Chashmonaim looked through the base of Mikdash. All they could find was one jar of oil that had the seal of the Kohen Gadol on it. In other words, it's very interesting because there's a principle that tumas chutru b'tzibur. If everybody's tameh, which everybody was at the time, there was no paraduma, right? Everybody was tameh, that you're allowed to use tameh oil. The miracle was not only that they found this oil, was that they could have used any oil, but it came out that it's a symbol of the fact of God wanting us to purify ourselves. So they found the pure oil. They said it must be, we have to purify, and it was sort of a symbol that we're going to be able to purify the whole base of Mikdash. But it was only enough oil for one day. Of course, the miracle happened. It happened. It worked for 8 days. The Shana Acheres, next year, the next time of anniversary of Hanukkah, out of Hanukkah, we sing Hallel and at the Hallel praise and praises. Tana, a person, the blacksmith is banging his hammer, and a spark flies out and burns his next door neighbor's pile of hay. Chayav, the blacksmith has to pay. We're looking at the next case. This is a Gemara that we're going to learn, God willing, in Baba Kama. A damages case. Gomel, if you have your camel, Shaitan Pishtan, it's got flax on it, highly flammable. Over Bereshus Rabin is walking, it's carrying the flax from one place to another through the public domain. But because it overhangs the camel on both sides, he walks a little too close to one of the storefronts, and it gets lit by the the fire of the store. And then from that, it goes in and lights the rest of the building on fire. The owner of the camel has to pay for it. Should have walked further away from the store. But if the shopkeepers have their candles outside, and then it lights the flax, and the flax lights the building, the store owner is going to be obligated. What do we see from here? If it's Ner Chanukah, he's patur, because you should have known that people put their Ner Chanukah outside in front of their place of business, place of their homes. We see from here, Ner Chanukah mitzvah, it has to be within 10 tvachim of the ground, right? 10 amos of the ground, right? A place where you can see it. Quickly. And why? Because we see that it was normal for the shopkeepers to have them in a place where it might come in contact with the passing cargo on a camel, and therefore the camel driver should be more careful. If you hold that it should have been above 10, they didn't have to put it within 10. Tell that the shopkeeper should have put the fire higher, and then it's the shopkeeper's fault that the place burnt down. No, we see they're allowed to keep it in the public area within 10 of the ground, and that's why the camel drivers are obliged if they light the place on fire. Maybe we don't really have a proof here that it could be within 10. Maybe the rabbis permitted it to be in a lower area at human within 10 tvachim of the ground, in order that it should be easy for them to put out the candle. But maybe if it's higher, you're not transgressing or doing anything wrong in the mitzvah of Hanukkah. So maybe we don't have a proof from here. Shekarech, gentlemen. A good Chodesh. Happy Rosh Chodesh Nisan. Today it's an anniversary of a lot of things, but according to one opinion, the Talmud, the creation of the world was today. It was the day they put up the Mishkan. The Mishkan was erected on the 1st of Nisan. And, we definitely, Chodesh, right, is the lashon of his chadshus, renewal. So right now we can definitely use a little bit of renewal. We want to start over a little bit, and God willing, the situation that everybody's right now in will be different next month.